You are listening to Thunderbolt Sports Talk. Here are your hosts, Charlie Adams and Timothy Yee.
Welcome to episode 14 of Thunderbolt Sports Talk. We're back with a new episode, and it's one of our final episodes here before we graduate high school, Tim.
Yep. Very, very sad, Jazz. You know, in a couple of weeks, we are going to be off and away and doing our own things, where we'll try to stay connected.
Well, you know, it's graduation season around Cranston East, and it's also allergy season around this area as well. We're both kind of feeling it this week. The rain helped drive it away in time for convocation, which we'll get into later. But first, let's get into the sports results.
Of course. So for May 13th, we had a very, very productive day. Our softball team with a huge 15-0 win over Exeter West Greenwich. You might think that's a big victory, but you're going to see in the stuff I say later that really wasn't the biggest victory this week. Lexi Montalban in a shortened 5-inning game had 3 hits allowed with 9 strikeouts. Batting, she was 1 for 4 with a run, 2 RBIs, and a stolen base. Samaya Ahmadi was 2 for 4 with 2 runs and 2 doubles. Gianna Tochi was 1 for 3 with 2 runs, a double, 3 RBIs, and a stolen base. Gianna Ramirez was 2 for 3 with 2 runs and an RBI, and Angelina Sang was 1 for 2 with an RBI. That was a huge win over EWG. A 3-0 sweep for the Thunderbolts over Chariho, who fell to 4-9 after that loss. Chuck Pinson's 10 kills, 8 digs, 5 aces. Larry Yen, 16 digs. Caleb Shum, 29 assists, 9 digs. And Carlos Laura, 7 kills, 8 digs. That team is really pulling themselves together. Standing currently at number 2 in the D1 standings right now. Our baseball team then also had a double-digit win over Tollgate, 12-2. Damon Holy had 3 hits allowed, an earned run, and 4 strikeouts in 6 innings pitched. Carlos Morejo was 2 for 3 with 2 runs, a home run, and 3 RBIs. Armani Pimentel was 2 for 3 with 2 runs, a triple, home run, and 3 RBIs. Javen Alexandre was 2 for 3 with a run and an RBI. Jerusalem Leone was 2 for 4 with a run and RBI. And senior night was on Tuesday, but, going to have to double check myself on that. And went really well for the tennis team, who got the sweep 7-0. They've been sweeping a lot the entire season. The singles winners coming from Eston Fowler, Aria Gunde, Jake Sigler, Adrian Rosales. The doubles team winners coming from the teams of Jason Barrera and Nancy Javaria, Jeff Shee and James Fabiano, and Andy Wu and Johan Araki. And Andy Wu is undefeated in tennis play. This was actually his first start. So that was great for him. Cranston East lost a close one versus Rogers on their senior night, 10-8. Lily Tillinghast had 3 goals. Maddie Flynn had 3 goals. Bella Dupree had a goal and 3 assists. And Elizabeth Pereira had a goal and 2 assists. So, a tough loss to end the home season. Might have to mention midway that the boys lacrosse season has been canceled for the rest of the season. They don't have enough players to field a team, so a bummer way to end the season.
Yeah, they forfeited their senior night.
Yeah.
And then it was over.
Yeah, just over like that. Just, So no senior night really at all for, any of the seniors on that boys lacrosse team, which is kind of sad to think about. And so on May 15th, so baseball was rescheduled to the 22nd. That is going to start at 4 o'clock.
It's going to be a busy week.
So there are still 2 games played. The boys volleyball played indoors. They had the sweep over the Classical Purple, who are just up the road in Providence. Chuck Pinson's 14 kills, 4 digs, and 3 blocks. Carlos Laura had 14 digs, 3 aces, and 1 block. Caleb Shum, 24 assists there in the victory. Another strong one for the Thunderbolts. Their senior night will be on Tuesday versus South Kingstown. And our softball team, their biggest win of, the season, 19-0 over Mount St. Charles, and Mount St. Charles is leaving the Interscholastic League, to try and pursue their club hockey dreams, which we've had the blessing to broadcast a couple of their games on the Fans Only Sports Network. In some stats, just going to list three of them. Jada Viveras, 4 for 4 with 3 runs, a double, a home run, and 4 RBIs. Nevaeh Fatorma went 4 for 5 with 4 runs, a double, a home run, 4 RBIs, and 2 stolen bases. And Lexi Montalban was 1 for 3 with a run and an RBI, but pitching in a shortened 5-inning game, allowed 5 hits and 6 strikeouts. A ton more stats to show there, but we try to keep it brief. We did have a kind of late start to this podcast, so we can transition on.
Well, Mount St. Charles leaving the RIAL was a bigger story for hockey, of course, where they won about 30 straight titles. But our post about it got some attention from our higher-up media in Rhode Island. Eric Rube reposted it and basically said if you don't like it, or what he just said, haters going to hate pretty much.
Yeah. And I know our higher up is going to absolutely hate when I say this, but shout out to Mr. Simone for making the post. Yeah, really appreciative.
We tried baiting Eric Rube to repost himself doing Fortnite dances or whatever we had. He never got. He probably saw it, but he never really made any note of it.
He was really gelling with the vibes.
Interesting. But softball remains undefeated, and senior night's in the books, some to come next week. It's a busy week next week. Jaden Tolentino for the baseball team won Player of the Week for Providence Journal.
Yes, sir.
And John Devine is up for this week's vote, where I'm pretty sure the voting is still open and available.
Yeah, we've had plenty of baseball players. We've had plenty of East athletes overall,
A lot of nominations between baseball, softball, and volleyball. It's been a big year for Cranston East, picking up the pace in the sports world this spring season.
Mm-hmm.
And in the NBA, the pace continues to grow as we have NBA playoffs rolling on, but a little step aside for the NBA draft lottery, where the Pistons, who once again suck, once again do not get the first pick in the NBA draft.
Yeah, Mr. Blake, huge Pistons fan. I know he is very upset about it. Very, very upset about it. I haven't talked to him yet, but I'm sure you still cope with the fact that, even though this team had the worst record, they didn't have the number 1 overall pick, but the Atlanta Hawks do. And so, in a somewhat, weaker draft class than we've seen in a while, there's really some questions on who they'll take, but apparently it may be another French phenom, not as big as a phenom as Victor Wembanyama, but Alexander Sarr, I believe. So, a big center. And, maybe this brings up the questions of Trae Young being traded.
Well, the Pistons didn't even get number 2, 3, or 4. They're all the way back to the 5th pick once again, where they've done good things in the past, and they're kind of building up a young core that seems to have the talent. And I mean, they're not winning the games per se at this point, of course, but they have a lot of young players that kind of a step behind what the Oklahoma City Thunder are doing. They definitely have more talent at this point on the Thunder and a better constructed roster with a better coach, of course, who just won Coach of the Year. But, the biggest story in the NBA draft really is LeBron James Jr. going to get drafted? And where is he going to go if he gets drafted? And is LeBron going to follow him? That's really taken most of the media attention away from anything else covering the draft. And it seems like he will get drafted. That's what people are saying. They're saying there's teams that are in there for him, looking maybe late first round, second round, definitely likely for Bronny to get drafted after 1 year of riding the bench at USC.
Of course, I think, late first, to wherever in the second round is a good place for Bronny to go. Um, we've always seen the things where, athletes are, hyped up pretty big and, they fall, they get to an underwhelming position, but, it's not bad. I mean, if Bronny gets drafted like late first round, to a playoff team, that's not the end of the world. I mean, Bronny is going to be on a playoff contending team. So, I wouldn't call it the end of the world for Bronny. I think if he does get drafted, I'll be happy for him. And if LeBron decides to follow and Bronny, is drafted in that late first round range, and it's a playoff team, that could be really interesting. That could be very interesting.
Well, even if Bronny starts off in the G League, he'd be a big draw for any G League team that has him on their roster, bring in some fans, maybe even selling some merchandise in the NBA. And we'll see what shakes out with that. But as the playoff continues with all the teams that don't care about the NBA draft lottery because they actually win games, the Celtics on to the Eastern Conference Finals. Another easy series win over the Cleveland Cavaliers, 4-1, just like they did in the first round. So 2 losses on the season in the playoffs, and they'll head to the Eastern Conference Finals and have another easy matchup surely on their way to a championship.
I have no comment on that. Because I already know the Celtics, even with their high and mightiness, are going to find some way to lose it all. I can just feel it. I can just feel it in my veins.
Well, we have Game 7 between the Timberwolves and Nuggets coming down on Sunday, May 19th. And for the Knicks-Pacers series, it is 3-2. With the Knicks leading, they play tonight. Should be interesting to see how these teams shake out. And, of course, the Thunder versus Mavericks series as well is 3-2 in favor of Dallas. So these series are coming down to the wire. These teams are playing way more games than the Celtics are, and they're going to be tired and going to be easy wins, easy championship, headed home to Boston, taking back that title of the most winningest franchise in the NBA.
I'd like to see you guys try. I'm just rooting for every other team in the NBA at this point.
Well, there's not much that you can do. Jalen Brunson, of course, leading the Knicks. He won't be an issue. The Timberwolves look strong. They don't matter. There's plenty of excitement in Boston.
They don't matter seems like a very, very, suspicious way to putting, competition aside, which the Timberwolves are real competition, And if they do get this Game 7 dub, I think they're going to take it all the way.
Yeah, well, you can talk to me in just about July once the NBA Finals are finally over. I don't know how they manage to spread out these games so much to make this season last all the way into mid-June, but they do it. And for the NHL and for the Bruins, it's 3-2. The Bruins are trying to fight back from a 3-1 deficit in their series. They got one win, and they have a chance to even the series at 3-3 and force a Game 7 tonight at 7 p.m. as they look to do what the Panthers did to them in last season. Very exciting hockey news, Tim. I'm sure you're just as excited to see the Bruins trying to make this miraculous comeback.
Yeah, sure.
Any comments about the Arizona Diamondbacks? How their season's been going, and any just thoughts?
I'm sure they're doing good. I'm sure they're diamonding. I'm sure they're backing. I'm sure they're diamond backing.
They're third in the NL West.
Is that a
21 and 23, trailing behind the Padres and of course the Dodgers.
Okay.
NL West doesn't look as strong as they usually do starting off the year. The AL East is still a buzzsaw with the Red Sox sitting 22 and 22. They're 500 on the year. That's just good enough for fourth in the American League East. Such a strong division, of course, and so much season left. But the action continues here as we already said, Knicks 1 win away from the Eastern Conference Finals. Some guessing on how the draft lottery went that way. But let's gotta give a mention to the WNBA season, which has kicked off and has been a pretty successful start. We've seen the new draftees making impacts already on their teams.
Yeah.
Of course, Caitlin Clark made her season debut, had a rough first half, and then kind of picked it up in the second. But just as a whole, the WNBA landscape seems to be changing for the better.
Yeah.
With chartered flights coming in, a lot of different opportunities for these athletes, more exposure, of course, with a strong draft class coming in.
Yeah, I think Coach Diggs actually attended a Connecticut Sun game. I think I saw it in his story. So, even the WNBA's impact, has an impact, even locally here. And it's not just, financially, it's also like, the young girls and, young women that, aspire to play basketball at the highest level, seeing role models, Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, this entire draft class, they'll be able to live out their dreams and, those girls can say, I can do it too,
Well, you can see on social media, they were highlighting A'ja Wilson's attention on her performance for the Las Vegas Aces, and I was seeing comments about people asking who to compare A'ja Wilson to in the NBA realm, and the responses were mixed, but it seemed like the majority were saying either LeBron or Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls to compare to A'ja Wilson and the Las Vegas Aces. She had a great game, and WNBA is off to a hot start, starting to be on the uptick after years of somewhat irrelevancy. We'll see how that increases in their exposure with the WNBA being featured in the new NBA 2K with these athletes coming into the game, which transitions well into another new video game coming out, EA College Football 25. We finally had the cover reveal that most of us knew after it was leaked, but we got to see Travis Hunter, Cam Ewers, and another college football face on the cover of that game and sharing the cover for the deluxe edition as well, where it's pretty exciting news. We've been waiting for EA College Football to return to our consoles for a while, and it's finally here.
Yep. Hopefully EA doesn't find a way to mess this thing up. How they've been doing it with Madden, with their, Ultimate Team and all of that. Their, just overall horrific game. But hopefully...
They do have Ultimate Team as part of EA College Football. We know that, but one thing that EA has done, which says a lot more about Madden, is in all their advertising for Madden or for EA College Football, they specifically managed to make sure to mention that nobody from Madden works on this game. This will not be like Madden. This is not Madden. And they continue to tell us how much this game is not Madden, which kind of means, or at least you got to think that means it's time to change Madden if you're going to advertise based on the fact that this game is not like your marquee franchise in your entire EA library, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, like if they're, like you said, Chaz, if they're gonna be saying it's not like Madden, it better really not be like Madden. Yeah, they better actually change Madden. And if this game is good, then then I would say transfer all the guys that worked on college football to work on Madden. But at the end of the day, for me, I still gotta see it to believe it. I still have some doubts. I still have some, questions. But, if I see it, it looks really good. All my doubts are gonna be silenced.
Well, we got into the sports news, and we'll finish off with one more sports topic before we transition into Cranston East school news. And the PGA Championship is underway at Valhalla Golf Course, and there's been plenty of excitement in the first round where Xander Schauffele, I hope I said that right, posted a -9 in his first round, setting a course record and a great performance out of him. He leads after day one with Thigala and Finau in second, tied with Hubbard at -6. Rory McIlroy up there at the top as well. Morikawa had a good first day. Koepka's up there too. Plenty of familiar faces at the top. DeChambeau sits -3. And Ricky Fowler had a tough first hole with a 4-putt, but bounced back slightly and continues to work his way back up after a rough start. Tiger Woods also participating in this championship where he's a little behind here, +1, tied for 85th. And we'll see as round 2 gears up. Another big story was Scottie Scheffler was arrested and
That's crazy.
detained by police on his way to the PGA Championship. He was in a traffic incident outside the PGA Championship where he is detained and handcuffed by police.
Well, so is he disqualified yet, or?
I don't know for sure. I know it's definitely been a big story. You know it is when you get multiple notifications about golf. Especially, I don't even think I have golf notifications on, but I got plenty of them to talk about this.
Mm-hmm.
So, golf continues.
Yeah.
It's a great sport. Give it a try.
How would you do at the PGA Tour, Chaz?
But come on. I'd be putting up John Daly numbers. John Daly has shown up for the PGA Championship and shown out with a +11 in the first round.
Wow.
Pretty sure he sits dead last.
Oh. I mean, I don't know.
Thanks for
I don't
showing
know
up.
about a +11 for you, Chaz.
Oh, never mind. There is someone behind him. Jeffrey Kellen has +16. I don't know what he was doing.
Maybe a +16. I don't know if he'd be a +16, Chaz.
I doubt I would. I'd be
Plus.
closer to +40.
Yeah.
But especially on those kind of courses. But we don't need to worry about that. 1% better every day when it comes to golf. And let's move into Cranston East news. Of course, see, the year is winding down. We're past our convocation now and we're approaching graduation. Convocation was a great time with
Fantastic time.
plenty of awards to go around. I believe they said over $500,000 in scholarships. That's up from $300,000 a year before.
Yeah. Or 200,000? 300, whatever. A lot more money than last year's.
And it was
And
a lot more fun when you're the one receiving the money instead of
Yeah, or you're
watching it.
people, you
But
know?
got some new chords.
Yeah.
Kind of wanted to join a couple of more societies after seeing what color chords they got. There's some smooth ones. I know the MAF one was light blue and gold. That one was looking nice. There's a
Yeah.
pink one, which
I mean,
I
are
was
you
not
a
part
big
of.
math whiz? Or
I probably could have got through to that one at least.
Or I would never.
I don't know what the requirements were to join, but there was a lot of clubs and societies that I didn't know existed that were awarded there. And I wouldn't have made it to the Art Honor Society, and not an art
Not
guy.
a big drawer.
Never.
I mean, we've seen the TSM drawing post.
Well, yeah,
I think it's a piece of art.
we have plenty of art classes over in the wing of the school
you know,
that
yeah.
is over there. I mean, that's all you can say about
I
it.
mean, I took a art class my freshman year, which was the COVID year. So, you can say how much that says to me about my art experience.
Well, and for my fine arts credit, I took a year of band instead of I would have took half a year if I could, but I couldn't. I was forced to stick around for both semesters during COVID, which I did, and got out of there with like a B final grade.
You
Got my credit.
Should have came with the the fine art, in the actual arts.
Yeah, well, did never taken a math class since middle school, and it's going to remain that way as we head off to college. But it was a fun night at convocation. Everyone got to wear their gowns in a very hot auditorium.
I mean, at least it was cooler in the auditorium. If it was hotter than
Oh yeah,
how it felt in the
cafeteria was very hot.
Horrible. I mean, that's the thing too. Maybe during May or June, for those late days, please invest in some AC. Maybe that should have been
our class
that
gift.
should have been our class gift.
If we could have given the school AC,
Yeah, air
that
conditioning.
would have been great.
You know,
We did give them some flowers,
yeah,
which contributes
to beauty.
some. No, it also contributes. It lets off oxygen or something.
Okay.
I forget how it works.
Yeah.
I didn't take science this year. I didn't take social studies this year, which helped to rule me out of a lot of awards, apparently.
Yeah, maybe when we're rich one day, we can provide the school a year's supply of air conditioning.
Only a year.
Oh.
What are we going to do after the year? Take it back?
Sure.
Jeez.
Give it to Cranston West.
Pretty capitalism of you.
What?
Give it to Cranston West.
I mean, we're kind of broke here, Chads.
Give it to Cranston West. You got it. A rental going on. Let's get into ELA with...
Oh, we're just gonna. All right.
Let's get into it. I mean,
All right.
you have more things to say about convocation?
No. We'll go to Mr. Smith's.
And we will in due time for period 2, but for now we can talk about our Macbeth rolling on. How did you think you did on the Macbeth Act 2 quiz?
Act 2 quiz. There's an Act 2 quiz.
Yes,
When?
when he was absent.
When he was absent. Oh, are you talking about the Act 4?
It was Act 3? All right.
Act 3? Act
Whatever
3.
quiz it was.
All right, you got me a little scared there. So I did all right, Kind of rushed through it, but,
Wow.
we live. We live.
Got your research paper done, though?
Yeah, we live. We
Oh,
live.
boy. Oh, boy. We'll see.
I
But,
live.
ELA continues. We don't have many classes left.
Yeah, it's gonna
And
be so
we have
sad.
one less class because next week is not a lot of the senior class will be here on that day.
Yeah, I wonder why.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm hearing rumors that
Everyone's getting
be
sick with
the-
these allergies.
Yeah, I'm hearing
the same
rumors
time?
that the school they're gonna be remedying the allergies by going to Six Flags.
I think I might go golfing. I don't know.
I don't know.
Six
I'm
Flags.
a little bit too rich for my blood.
Six Flags seems pretty far away for me.
Far in, I'm kind of broke. So, I also just want to stay home.
Wow. So you'll take advantage of the senior sick day, and we won't be here next week for an episode.
Yeah.
We'll miss you and come back for the next week, which might be our final episode. I think it actually might be an exam day.
Exam day?
I don't have
We
it.
might have to reschedule.
Yeah, we might have
gotta-
to do
we gotta-
one final episode,
We gotta do one final episode.
probably on a Wednesday when we don't have exams.
Yeah, maybe we bring in
Still posted on a Friday.
Mr. Simone.
Maybe.
Well,
Leave the offer open.
Yeah, leave the
If you're listening, Mr.
yeah, leave
Simone.
the educationing to Mr. Blake Danforth.
Yeah. There's always a chance.
Mhm.
And before we sign off, again, we started a little late here. And it's going to be one of our shorter episodes.
Yeah.
But we want to give a special shout out to Miss Blaze, who won the 2024 School Librarian of the Year
Yes,
Award.
ma'am.
Presented by the School Librarians of Rhode Island
Yes, ma'am.
Professional Association, and she'll be recognized by RIDE, Rhode Island Department of Education, at the annual Teacher of the Year celebration in the fall.
She 100% deserves it. I mean, for these last couple years, this last year in general, she has been very generous, very kind, and I wouldn't have any other librarian.
And you've spent plenty of time in the library, especially this year, and so have we for our codependent study
Yeah.
to learn more about podcasting and bring this show to you. We use the library space early and often.
Yeah,
Tim, a
so-
little more than me.
Yeah, so a huge thank you to what is essentially one of our biggest contributors to this show, Miss Blaze, for allowing access to our library.
Plenty of space, always a place to go when you need to get work done and be productive and not just sit there and eat food, which is not allowed, especially
Yeah.
during lunch.
You brought a sandwich.
That was an AP exam exception, and it still didn't fly. But always supporting the students as well with fundraisers and, of course, the cookies. Oh, the Girl Scout cookies. We managed to sell it out, though. No
Yeah.
more cookies, but
All the food.
giving out gift bags and always putting on events for teachers, and all those kind of events always take place in the library, kept up by Miss Blaze and some of her student helpers. Thank you to Miss Blaze. And thank you to everyone who listened to episode 14. Anything else we want to touch on here at the end of the episode?
I earned $37.50 of those $500,000.
$37.50.
Yeah, I counted the scholarship money. It came up to $37.50.
All right. I earned. I won't say how much I
over
earned.
20,000. Over 20,000.
Well, I guess if you want to say that. Earned for my freshman
Big
year.
Pissern guy.
Got a Precern luncheon or something coming up in June.
Was that just for the URI kids, or did other people win that, or?
It's definitely not just for URI kids. I don't know exactly who won, but I know both the Josephsons did. So
Yeah.
neither of them are going
the
to URI.
Josephsons are not going to URI.
But plenty of awards were given out, and even Thunderbolt Sports Talk got a shout out. So I heard a couple of when they said that. I don't think they know about us, but we're here in the shadows, and we will be probably one more time before we walk the stage and say goodbye forever to Cranston East.
Yeah, can we call this an award-winning podcast now?
Yeah. I mean, it was mentioned. You probably could. But Tim, sign us off here for episode 14.
Here comes the money.
Oh boy.